So if you're here, fucking welcome. I'm Stefania. You should know who I am by now, but if you don't, nice to meet you. I am in service to a multiple series of things. But if you're watching this, it's because you've been called to the path of being served reverence and responsibility. And I understand that both of those words are highly charged and a little codified. And what I mean by that is that we all have our internal definitions for what those mean. And so I'm going to redefine them for you so we're all on the same page. Okay. And as I continue to go through what I'm calling this transmission, let me know what's coming up for you in the chat so I can respond to it directly. And towards the end, I'm going to get you guys to come live on video. We're going to have a bit of a Q&A. For those of you watching the replay, so sorry you weren't here live. You'll have to catch the next one. The Q&A session is just for those who are here in real time. So what is reverence? Truly, by definition, it's respect. And when I teach reverence, I'm teaching something so much deeper than respect. See, reverence is the deep embodied sense of respect for the truth. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, truth of what? The truth of you, the truth of your life, the truth of what you are meant to live through in this world, the truth of what you are meant to serve, the truth of your existence on this plane. Now, some of you might be watching this and be like, bitch, I thought I was talking about money and she's talking about my existence. Just take a breath, come into your body, because it's kind of the same bloody thing. See, when we have a deep embodied sense of respect for our lives, then there's no way in hell we're going to be broke. There's no way in hell we're going to be time strapped or energy depleted, because we respect ourselves far too much to ever go without what we require. And you might take a look at your life and you're like, well, I got to pay bills though, right? So is the job that you're picking to pay those bills, is that really respectful? Or are you disrespecting yourself just to pay your bills? See, this work is nuanced and paradoxical, which means there isn't one definitive formula or way about becoming wealthy. And wealthy meaning having the time, the money, and the energy to live the life that feels true for you. Not true for your parents or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, not true for your school and education, for your neighbor, to make your grandparents proud, to compete with your best friend. No, your embodied sense of wealth is completely up to you and how you desire to practice self-respect. We all have different boundaries. We all have different red flags. So when we allow ourselves to say, you know what, my life is mine and I'm going to design it accordingly, who we have to show up as on a daily basis is very different than who we've been. Reverence is not something I can logic you into. So in this moment, I want you to find the part of you inside your body that respects yourself. And it might be hard. Some of you might be finding that deep embodied sense of respect is a little bit quiet. You may have emotions coming up, and that's okay too. Let's not judge them. Allow yourself to really feel it, that you've come here, especially if you're watching this right now, you've come here because you are not about that disrespectful shit. You are not about being stepped on or stepped over, and certainly not by your own creation. So once you find that place, immediately you're going to see places where you do tolerate and where you do force and where you do have to, you feel like you have to prove yourself. And you're going to be like, shit, I've got some disrespectful habits. Now what? Well, this is why I don't just serve reverence, because telling you to respect yourself day in and day out is like, that's a big, tall order. I also serve responsibility, which has been codified to mean fault and blame. And that's literally not what it is. See, responsibility is your ability to respond to reality. So in those moments when you start seeing your disrespectful shit come up and you're like, well, what's within my ability to respond to that? What's in my capacity to change jobs, to put up a boundary, to communicate my needs, to own and stand up for my needs in a way that ensures that they're met without energetics like entitlement and extraction and exploitation. See, living a wealthy life means wealthy in all areas. And the way that most people look at money is like, no, I just want to be wealthy in my bank account. I don't care at all about being wealthy in any other area of my life, because that's just all a sham. But I want you to consider, how wealthy are you if you never have time? If you're just running the clock every single day? How wealthy are you if you never have any energy? How wealthy are you if you've just hustled and put yourself into burnout and require the next 6 years to heal from said burnout and have all of these medical concerns? How wealthy are you? Now, here's the truth, is most people don't feel wealthy to begin with. So adding those extra things doesn't change the content. But I want you to consider that if tomorrow our friends Elon or Jeff or Warren or Oprah get sick, how much they care about the money in their bank account. Now, here's where I'm going to twist something for you. It's not that they don't care. It's that they care enough to use it in places that matter. to be able to use your resources in accordance with the reality of your life as you require it is a very different game than the one that we're sold. To live a reverently wealthy life is to have the kind of audacity that says, my life requires X, and therefore I'm going to respond to my reality to ensure that that requirement is met. I'm going to do what it takes. But here's the thing. I'm sure you've seen it all over social media. Let me know if you have or have not, but we've all heard of those like hustle culture people. Do what it takes. That's not the energy I'm coming with. I don't want you to overrun your body. I don't want you to overrun your pace. I want you to be able to integrate every little piece of newfound knowledge and experience so that you're not constantly pendulum swinging from feast to famine, running your nervous system dry and having all of your energy being invested into maintaining the pendulum. Oh, I'm too far over there. I need to come back. So in all of my programs, it's about working with the body because it's gotten too comfortable with that. It's gotten too comfortable with being so far in your head and trying to strategize to fit someone else's formula that you forgot that you can't live somebody else's life, that your healing of your inner teen is on you and is of your exploration. It's going to be unique to you and your upbringing, that there's no single formula that's going to just take all of that away from you. There's no prescription that you can take to heal that wound. What it's going to take to heal that wound is going to be solely up to you because your wealth is unique and independently determined. Whether or not you choose to heal that wound will be up to you. But then what? Okay, Steph, I've healed my inner teen. Then what? Well, you'll probably start to notice that your inner teen doesn't feel the need to force the pendulum swing of spending your money, of trying to get your attention from always feeling broke or trying to feel comfortable with always feeling compressed because that's what they grew up knowing. It also allows your inner teen to relax because if you're a hyper responsible teen like myself, you never learned how to do that. More importantly, when you start addressing these places with reverence, with a deep embodied sense of respect for all of you, you're not doing it because you're broken. You're not doing it because you need to be fixed. You're doing it because you choose to. That you choose to go on a path that tells you, wow, I can actually be well resourced in this life. And not resourced by anyone else's definition. Resourced by your own definition is the only resource that actually matters. So for those of you joining me live, let me know how this is landing because I'm coming in hot today. I really want to see you guys like kind of digesting in the chat as well. Okay. So part of why I wanted to come on this call today is because a lot of the people who are starting to find me and starting to come into my social media spaces, they don't really understand what this work is, right? There's lots of money coaches that are comparable, but not really, okay? In all of my programs on the path of reverent wealth, you are being led through the journey of financial intimacy. And what that means is coming so close into yourself that how you use money, how you use time, how you use energy, and how you acquire all three is in deep eternal alignment. That there is no, how should I spend my money? How should I spend my time? How should I spend my energy? Instead, it's like, oh, what's important to me right now is that I rest and I can do that guilt-free. Oh, what's important is that I have enough money to pay my bills and go on vacation. Okay, so I'm going to use my energy over this way. You start to create your own formula for your own experience of wealth that does not require you to outsource any sense of your own power to somebody else. Because that's really what the game is how powerful do you feel in this lifetime and how much power do you give away? Because giving your sovereignty over to anything is about the most disrespectful thing you could do. But unfortunately, we live in a world that prioritizes it. Give up your sovereignty to a corporation. Give up your sovereignty to a diagnosis. Give your sovereignty up to a collective group of individuals. Give your sovereignty up to whatever, insert here, that most people, what they think is sovereignty, what they think is body autonomy, financial autonomy, isn't it, because it's using other people to compare against themselves. It's saying, well, how did that person do it? I want what they have, when that was never the thing you were supposed to be doing. It's not I want what they have. It's I want what's for me. And I need to go discover that. Because what they have might be less than what you actually require, but you're too humble to let yourself see it. You're too down to earth to let yourself be bougie, even though it might be true for you. See, reverent wealth means that you have to really peel back all the layers of what you think it means, come out of your mental concept and constructs of what it looks like to have wealth, and actually come so far into yourself that you are intimate enough to know whether or not what you're doing on a daily basis allows you access to what you have innately. It is your birthright to be well-resourced. It is your birthright to ensure that you have enough food in your belly and shelter over your head. It is your birthright, but no one is going to give you that right if you don't show up for it. If you are constantly giving your sovereignty away, that is giving up your birthright. That's why we have a return. That's why it's a reclamation of, you know what? Fuck all of this. I'm here to have a wealthy ass life. And to me, living wealthy is a penthouse suite. To my best friend, living wealthy is being off the grid, eating no seed oils, right? You need to be willing to have the audacity to define that shit on your own, not by Mr. Kawasaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad, not by Ramit on his Netflix special, not by Lori and her 100K path, like none of that, because what's true for you may not even require what you've been told you do. So what the fuck do we do? What do we do with that information? Oh shit, okay, I'm gonna define wealth by my own terms like some lunatic. Well, I've got some very real realities I have to address, Steph. Welcome to the game. How do we address reality and respond to reality and shift it so that we can be living in alignment with what's actually true for us? Well, it's going to require financial intimacy. It's going to require boundaries where you've never practiced them. It's going to be requiring saying no. It's going to be requiring saying yes. It's going to be requiring you showing up to the mat with yourself every day and calling out your own bullshit. Now, maybe this sounds intense, but here's the caveat. The journey will take you as long as it takes you. Wealth is not a rapid experience. It is a slow, romantic one. Because when you truly feel wealthy, it is in your skin. The lack of worry about how your bills are going to be paid, the lack of concern about what your next 6 months looks like, because you're so fully rooted and seated in yourself that you're actually fully capable, regardless of the reality you face. That you lose your job tomorrow and you're like, I'm okay. You could have no emergency plan, no emergency fund, and be like, yeah, no, I got it. I'm still not worried. That's what it means to be the autonomous version of you, where there's nothing outside of you, not a perspective, not an opinion, not a circumstance that is ever going to remove you from your center. Your only job, if you are on the path of reverent wealth, is to say, what do I know and what is true? Having reverence for that, and then responding to reality to ensure you never leave that spot. Now, there are multiple different ways that you can journey this. One of the main ways that most people are going to start with is healing their inner teen, because that survivalist in you that is probably fighting everything I'm saying right now, that's not adult you. That's the inner teen who's been convinced to give up your power to external things, external circumstances, external people, just to survive life. They were not told nor taught how to respond to reality. They were told and taught how to concede to it. It is a very different game. So where many people are going to start is going to be with the piggy bank. But even earlier than that, they're going to start with just a vault journey to reconnect to that part of themselves, because we like to punish them and say, well, my inner teen was heartbroken and a loser. My inner teen was a druggie. My inner teen was an addict. My inner teen was a party. My inner teen was an inner slut, whatever it was. It's like we have so much judgment for that part of us, but that part of us is the reason why we're alive here today. So how dare you disrespect that? How dare you not have reverence for the survival that you were capable of? No matter how painful, you were capable of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this. How dare you, right? So you've got to heal that part of you that is fighting with your inner teen when your inner teen never wanted all of that responsibility. So they either rebelled against it or conformed with it. But it was never actually supposed to be theirs. We just live in a fucked up world that doesn't treat teenagers like teenagers. We force them to grow up much sooner than it's actually necessary. And we don't set them up for success. And then we look around at people in their 30s and they're operating their cash like they're still 16. So if you have any resentment with that part of you, you got to heal that first, because all they're going to do is thrash. All they're going to do is fight. All they're going to do is resist the practice of actually being intimate because they already don't feel seen. So on that journey, you'll go through a whole process of like really looking at what got missed when you were raised and giving that to yourself now, so that adult you can actually show up and be intimate with reality without the jadedness of your inner teen distorting what you need to be able to do to shift your reality. For those who are like, fuck, I really want the deeper work. Like, I know that I'm going to have my adult show up every day on the mat. My inner teen's chill, but like maybe we got some work there. That's going to be for the individuals who come to bank, who are ready for the consistent practice of looking at their money, of addressing how they hold it, of ensuring that their bodies are taken care of in the process. Because I'll be damned, most people are very comfortable overriding their bodies and then wondering why they're sick in like 6 months. But bank is a year-long journey for that reason. It takes as long as it takes. But I've also recently released a new coaching level of a membership where it's 6 months of my deliberate holding, of ushering you through the 6 cornerstones of financial intimacy and reverent wealth, so that whether or not you stay in membership, whether or not you continue to work with me beyond this container, that you have not only learned mentally the practices, but you have embodied them so they become a part of your life. Financial intimacy is nothing more than being honest, but part of the issue is that honesty is so deeply sensational that we avoid it. I don't want you to avoid it because it's not anything to be scared of. Your reality might be shit, but that's a perfect opportunity to completely shift it. And how a lot of people do that is they end up creating their own businesses. And then at that point, if you do decide to create your own business, or if you've already created your own business, the last thing you want to do is bring in your distorted shit from your like abused inner teen and your avoidance patterns into your business. And so for those who are like, nah, I'm in it for the long haul. I want reverence and I want to be able to respond to my reality without feeling like I need to abandon myself for it. Then there's Minted for the journey of entrepreneurial financial intimacy. And all of these things, they're all serving you the same bloody thing. They just got different vibes. They got different practices, but it's simplified in a way that your body can receive, because that neural pathway, that muscle memory around being scared or tight or controlling or avoidant of your resources is actually what's pushing them away. And the best example of this is if you were just to consider that your money is a person, like an actual person, and then look at how you treat them. I make my money work for me. Oh, are you the pimp? Your money's pimp. Okay, you keep that pimp hand strong. All right, then I avoid my money. Why do you avoid your money? Oh my God, it's just like so sensational. It's just like too much for me. And I'm like really bad at math. Okay, so you avoid your partner because they have some information for you? I don't quite understand. Oh, money loves me. It loves me so much that I can buy whatever I want and never actually think about it. But it's really about me buying the things that like make me feel special. Okay, so money is your trophy wife. Money serves your ego, doesn't serve your resourcing. All of a sudden, we start to see these patterns of how we treat money, and they're deeply reflective of whether or not we're fully respecting ourselves. Because if you have to abuse money to have money listen, it's not respectful. You certainly don't respect your money. If you have to avoid money for your life to feel calm, it's not respectful. If you have to use money as a form of status, then it's actually not respectful for the truth of who you are. It's respectful to your ego. No one gives a fuck about the ego because that shit's not real anyways. It's not who you are. The ego is a byproduct of who you think you should be. And it's always going to feel like it drops, that it's something's missing in your life, because it is. The deeper truth is that who you are needs to be uncovered and needs to be revealed to yourself first. And in the process of revealing that, it can be really scary and sensational for sure. But when we allow ourselves to say, okay, I've got this new truth that's coming through, and it's like, I'm working way too much and I need space and I need to go on an actual vacation. In that tenderness of that desire, we can start saying, well, how do we prepare the time, money, and energy to meet that desire, that really tender, heartfelt thing? Because if you never address the heartfelt thing, the tender thing, the scary thing inside your own heart, then you're just going to use your time, money, and energy as a scapegoat for continuing to avoid yourself, continuing to avoid all of the things that are untrue in your life that need to be taken down. And when we go out and we go and look at society, we can see everybody having nervous breakdowns at 40 because they designed a life based on who they thought they should be and what they thought they needed to accomplish, instead of designing a life that is true for them, that backs them, that honors them. So I want you just to take a moment and look at your life holistically in every area and ask yourself, where am I respecting myself? Maybe you are very respectful with your diet. You eat nutritious, delicious, decadent food that keeps you nourished. And maybe you're super respectful there. And then all of a sudden you go, but I scroll on social media like 18 hours out of 24. And then I don't sleep very well. And then I live off coffee. Maybe you start to see the places where you're not quite as respectful as you thought. The thing is, though, is you don't want to stay there. You have to ask yourself, what would it take for me to revere myself in that spot? What would it take for me to have reverence, a deep embodied sense of respect for the truth of my life and everything in it, the truth of who I am and what I'm meant to do here? What would it take to have reverence in all areas? I think I might have to go on a little bit of a tech detox. I might have to start journaling about why I keep reaching out for my phone, what I'm avoiding. I might have to start doing the deeper work. So if you found me through TikTok, it might be very confusing because you're like, what? You're talking about other shit over on there on TikTok. Well, yeah. How am I supposed to bring this stuff in 3 minutes? It's not that easy, right? This whole journey is just about coming back into your body, because you leaving your body is what is having your resources be so fucking wiry, because it has nothing to attach itself to. This is why self-honoring people have the perfect amount of time, money, and energy their life requires. It's the self-dishonoring people that constantly feel like they never have enough of any. Time, money, and energy are looking to attach themselves to certain and concrete things. And those certain and concrete things are never going to be, in comparison to somebody else, defaulted or tethered to an idea. It's going to be the deeper version of you. For those of you watching the replay, this is where our video ends. I would love to hear what's landing for you, what's coming up, but take a moment and really get into your body. You will receive links to next steps, and you can book a call